A few details about the creation of the world. According to the revelations of Anna Katharina Emmerich, immediately after the request of the remaining angelic choirs, and after the movement of the divinity, I saw how around the shadowy shield, on the right side, a dark sphere formed. Then I turned my eyes more towards this dark sphere, to the right of the shadowy shield, and it seemed to me that it was growing larger and larger. I saw brighter dots emerging from the mass and disappearing, and here and there appearing in a wider, bright plain. At the same time, I saw the shape of land separating from the water. Then I saw movement in the bright places, as if something was coming to life within them. I also saw plants growing on the land, and among them, I noticed living activity. Since I was a child, I thought that the plants themselves were moving. Everything was initially gray, but now it was becoming increasingly brighter, like a sunrise. It was just like on Earth in the morning when everything awakens from sleep. Everything else disappeared from view. The sky was azure, and the sun passed over it. I saw only one part of the earth illuminated by the sun, and that part was very beautiful, so I thought it was paradise. All the changes on that dark sphere seemed to me like clouds emerging from that supreme circle of God. When the sun rose higher, everything looked like a morning when we wake up from sleep. It was the first morning, something no being had ever known before. It seemed as if they had existed forever, yet they were innocent. As the sun rose higher, I noticed that the trees and plants grew taller and taller. The water became brighter and more sacred. All other colors were purer and brighter. Everything was incredibly pleasant. There was also no trace of creatures such as exist today. All plants, flowers, and trees were different. They looked different. Now everything appeared desolate and twisted, as if it had degenerated. Often, when looking at the plants and fruits in our garden, which in southern countries seemed to me large, noble, and tastier, like oranges, for example, I thought to myself that just as our fruits compare to those of the northern countries, so to the fruits of the southern countries, and even worse, compared to the fruits of paradise. I also saw white and red roses, believing that they symbolized the passion of Christ and salvation. I saw palm trees and large, wide trees casting shade like a roof. Before I saw the sun, everything on the earth seemed small to me, then larger, and finally very large. The trees did not stand densely. Of each kind of plant, at least the larger ones, I saw only one. They stood separately, like in garden plots, divided by species. Everything was green, so pure, and so orderly that it did not at all seem as if a human hand had cleaned or arranged anything. I thought to myself how beautiful everything was because there were no people yet. There was still no sin or corruption. Here, everything was healthy and sacred. Nothing was yet being prepared. Everything remained clean, even though it was not being cleaned. The land I saw was slightly hilly and covered with plants. In the center, a spring flowed, from which rivers branched out in all directions, and some of these rivers rejoined each other. In these rivers, I first noticed movement in living animals. Then I saw how these animals here and there peeked out from among the bushes, as if awakening from sleep. They were tame and completely innocent, compared to today, even in comparison to domesticated animals. The animals of today were like humans, pure, noble, fast, kind, and gentle. It is difficult to describe what they were like. I did not know most of the animals. I saw an elephant, a deer, a camel, and most notably, a rhinoceros, which I also noticed in the ark, where it was friendly and gentle. It was shorter than a horse, so its head was more rounded. I did not see any monkeys, any insects, or ugly animals. I always thought that they were a punishment for sins. I saw many birds and heard their sweetest singing, the kind usually heard in the morning. However, I did not hear any animal roar. I also did not see any predatory birds.